What's good, y'all? Dr.Trehunna. Now, a lot of my clients already know how much I preach about apple cider vinegar and why you should incorporate this in your daily regimen. But also, there's two different types of acids that you can incorporate with carbs that's going to blunt the glucose level response in your body, which means what? Your body's going to start burning its own body fat faster after eating. So today, what we're going to cover is the two different type of other acids that you can incorporate in your daily regimen that is probably more, ubiquitous. That way you can literally have your cake and eat it too, literally. All right. So first things first, everybody already knows, or if you're a follower of me, you know that carbs and sugar is the exact same thing in the human body. Your body cannot tell the difference. So yes, when you decide to get a whole pack of sugar and you pour it in your Kool-Aid versus you having a pancake or rice or potatoes, it's all going to break down into glucose in the human body. Your body cannot tell the difference, literally. All right. Now, because you're consuming glucose, what's going to happen is your body's naturally going to secrete something called insulin. And when insulin is high in the human body, or when your body has insulin in its bloodstream in the first place, it is humanly impossible for your body to break down body fat. So I repeat, once you have some carbs, or once you have something that spikes some insulin, because believe it or not, protein spikes insulin too. But when you have these things, it's going to stop your body from burning body fat, okay? Because now you're signaling to your body, hey, energy is now present. I want you to use this instead of that, all right? So when you give your body anything exogenously or anything with some sort of calories, it's going to somewhat break a fast. But when you have something with carbs or sugar in it, it's going to immediately break a fast, like ASAP Rocky. All right. Now, so the issue with you having a lot of carbs in your diet, can you have carbs here and there? Of course. It's not the carbs that's the issue. It's the type of carbs we like to eat. Okay. I'm talking about them Doritos. I'm talking about them hot chips. I'm talking about your favorite type of ho-hos, your Twinkies, your processed carbs. That is the issue. Because a lot of people don't like to eat a whole lot of Brussels sprouts or asparagus or broccoli anymore. A lot of people want to eat processed carbs. That is the issue. So once again, no carb on earth is bad. It's the quality of the carb that makes it bad. All right. You having something that comes from the earth, it's totally different from something that's created in a lab somewhere. All right. So when insulin is high, once again, your body's going to immediately stop burning body fat. All right. But believe it or not, there is a way where you can kind of bypass how your body breaks down these starchy carbs, which means what? You can kind of get away scot-free here and there. Okay. Here and there. That way you can have more carbs and your body's not going to be able to break everything down, which means you kind of can have some more carbs without your body actually picking it up and storing it as energy. All right. So in order for me to explain this to you, you have to understand the two different type of enzymes that helps break down carbs in the human body. All right. So every single time you give your body a starchy carb, okay, a starchy carb, which means it's a long chain glucose, which means a whole lot of glucose in a long chain, right? It needs help to break this down. Your body likes simplicity and wants to break it down to a smaller form, right? Now, two different type of enzymes help with this process. There's a salivary alpha amylase, which is in your mouth, of course, and pancreatic alpha amylase, which is in your pancreas, okay? So this one starts to get activated after the food or the chyme, once your body breaks it down, goes into the small intestine region, okay? But before that process even starts, before that food hits your stomach, guess what's gonna start breaking it down? The salivary alpha amylase, okay? So when you give your body some starches, once again, some bread, some rice, some potatoes, some honey bunches of oats, etc., your salivary alpha amylase is gonna start breaking it down. So once it starts breaking it down, that means your body's now able to use it. It's kind of like if you had a sub and somebody said, you can have this sub, right? Let's say it's a Wagyu sub. Let's say it's $1,000 sub. But the only way you can eat it, you can't chew it. You just got to eat it whole. You're going to be like, okay, well, I can't eat it, so I'm not going to do it. You see what I'm saying? The same thing applies to the human body. If your body's not able to break these things down, such as fiber, it's just going to let it go, right? So when you give your body fiber, your body cannot really break down fiber. So, but guess what can break it down? Your microbiome, okay? Or the things that's in your gut flora. So because you're still giving your body some fiber, you cannot use it, but your gut flora can use it. So if you're giving your body some starchy carbs, but your body's not able to break it down, it's just going to bypass it, So you're kind of having your cake and eating it too, all right? But the only way you can go ahead and activate this enzymes is if you inhibit it by using lactic acid, acetic acid, or citric acid. I repeat, lactic acid, which is something like kombucha, sauerkraut, kimchi, those things have lactic acid, okay? Now, citric acid, something that you do probably all the time anyways, lemon water, All right. And last but not least, acetic acid, which is apple cider vinegar. All right. So these things, what it does is going to inhibit the salivary alpha enzyme to even come out. So let's say you're having some potatoes and you're drinking some apple cider vinegar with it. I don't know why you would do that, but just so you have an idea, right? So you're drinking some apple cider vinegar and you're having some potatoes, right? Because your body's not able to break down this long chain glucose, what's going to happen is it's going to break down some of it, but it's not going to break down all of it. So now it's going to blunt the insulin response about 50%. So if it blunts the insulin response about 50%, what does that mean? That means 50% of the carbs that you're supposed to be storing as fat, it's not storing. Simple, you know? So these are little biohacks that people can have in place or in the tuck somewhere where you know you're living your best life. You can go ahead and bring it out. That's why I tell my clients right after you having a cheat day, one of the best things you can do is make sure you have some apple cider vinegar. Why? Because apple cider vinegar naturally is going to help break down the glucose in your system. So if it's going to break down the glucose, that means that your insulin level's not going to be as high, which means what? It's not going to store all that carbs that it's supposed to be storing as fat. Okay? So the human body is a machine. You can kind of stop things here and there. It's about if you have the wherewithal to stop it, you know? So, but once it actually hits the stomach, once it actually gets break down to the stomach, your body's not overall stupid, right? It's going to go ahead and start using this pancreatic alpha amylase enzyme to say, oh, hey, well, there's actually some starchy carbs right here. We need to go ahead and break it down. But once again, it has two different areas where your body's supposed to already start breaking it down at. So your glucose levels were supposed to rise after you had it initially in your mouth in the first about 15 to 20 minutes. But because you bypassed that, your body's now picking up in your pancreas, so that's after your stomach. It can't break down or pick up every single carb that you gave it. All right. So kind of like the main reason why I tell my clients to eat protein. Why? Because it takes so much energy for the human body to digest protein. It's going to also speed up your metabolism, and all that protein calories that you ate, your body's not going to pick up all of it. All right. So let's say you ate 1,000 calories worth of protein. Your body's only going to really pick up 800, even though you consumed 1,000 calories. So kind of the same thing applies here. If you go ahead and have some lemon water along with your starchy carbs, or you have some apple cider vinegar after or with, right? Or you have some kombucha, sauerkraut, or fermentable foods, what's going to happen is your body's not going to be able to pick up as much starchy carbs that you're having with your meal. And because you're having that starchy carbs with your meal, you're eating all the starchy carbs with your meal, but your body's not picking it up, or it's not starting the process of breaking it down in your mouth, right? Some of it is going to get past stage free. So I'm not going to say that, oh, if you have 100 French fries and you having some apple cider vinegar with it, then, oh, basically you're never gonna get fat. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, if you're having some rice, the best thing you can absolutely do when you're having any type of starchy carbs is to have it along with some lemon water, okay? Or have some apple cider vinegar during that day. That way your insulin levels are not going as high. And because your insulin levels is not going as high, guess what? That means your body's gonna get to a fat burning state faster than if you decided not to just have it in general, or just to have regular water. Simple. So these are little biohacks that you can do here and there to pass the salivary alpha amylase enzyme in your mouth, which means what? You can have more carbs, and because you're having more carbs and you feel like you're not gaining as much weight, you're happier. You're living life. Cool? So don't do this all the time. Just do that here and there. All right? So hopefully y'all learned something today. That's your tip for Tuesday, and that's your reset tip of the day. It's going to help you stay snatched all the time. Know it's summertime. Talk to y'all soon.